I will discuss on budgetary control systems, mechanisms and features. These are the summary of my lecture. First point, that is introduction to budgetary control. Secondly, objectives. Third is strategies to make budgetary control effective. Fourth point, that is understanding the importance of budgetary control. Fifth point, key components of a budgetary control system. Seventh point, types of budgetary control. Eighth point, that is the types of budgetary control in management accounting. Ninth, types of budgetary control in cost accounting. 10th point, that is characteristics of budgetary control. 11th point, that is steps in budgetary control. 12th point, functions of budgetary control. 13 points, role of budgetary control in decision making. 14th, what are the advantages of budgetary control? After that, the role of technology in enhancing the budgetary control. Then limitations of budgetary control, tips to minimize limitations of budgetary control, achieving long-term financial stability through effective budgetary control, and then implementing budgetary control for organizations, and then the tips for improving budgetary control and forecasting accuracy, and after that the conclusions. These are the summary of my presentations on the topic budgetary control systems and mechanisms and features. Introductions to budgetary control. The use of budgets to control firms' activities is known as budgetary control. Secondly, it is a system in which budgets are prepared and the actual results are compared with the forecasted one, with the purpose of fixing up responsibility for the deviations. Third point, in respect of budgetary control, that is, budgetary control can be defined as a system of controlling cost which includes the preparations of budgets, coordinating the department and establishing responsibilities comprising actual performance with the budgeted and acting upon results to achieve maximum profitability. CIMA, a organization of the London, defines budgetary control as the establishment of the budgets relating to the responsibility of executives to the requirements of a policy and the continuous comparisons of actual with the budgeted results, either to secure by individual actions the objectives of that policy or to provide a firm basis for its revision. Actually, these are the pictures on the budgetary control, and especially those who are the economists. They have identified such types of the images in aspects of the budgetary control. What are the objectives of the budgetary controls? First of all, budgetary control sets the stage for a well-structured financial plans, providing a roadmap for how financial resources will be allocated and utilized over a specific time frame. Secondly, it assists in defining clear financial goals and objectives for an organization, allowing for a shared understanding of what needs to be achieved. Thirdly, budgets allocate resources efficiently by assigning funds to different departments and projects based on their strategic importance and financial requirements. And fourthly, budgets act as benchmarks for measuring actual financial performance against planned figures. These evaluations help identify areas where performance deviates from expectations. By highlighting areas of cost overruns or inefficiencies, budgetary control supports proactive cost management measures to ensure that financial resources are utilized optimally. It aids in informed decision making by providing financial insights and data to guide choices about investments, cost cutting, and resource allocations. The budgets enables organizations to assess the profitability of different segments of their operations, helping them focus on the most lucrative areas. It assists in maintaining a healthy cash flow by forecasting revenue and expenditure, ensuring that the organizations can meet its financial obligations. Then the budgetary control fosters a culture of continuous improvement by identifying areas for operational enhancement and efficiency. The strategies to make budgetary control effective. The strategies, first strategy, establish clear financial goal. What are the purpose? Provide clear directions and focus for organizations financial activities. Action step, set practical and achievable goals, aligns with organizations' overall strategy and create budget based on these goals. Second strategy, include relevant stakeholders. For this point, what are the purpose? The purpose is that foster stakeholder engagement and ownership in budgetary control processes. In budgetary control process, action step, engage stakeholders, managers, executives, and department heads in budgetary control process to foster focused effort. Third strategy, effective communications. What are the purpose? To promote transparency, understanding, and accountability in organizations' financial performance and decision-making processes. Steps, action steps. Here, what are the action steps? Ensure effective communications with key stakeholders and involve them in decision-making processes. Fourth strategy, use performance indicators. What are the purpose? Establish performance indicators and benchmark that enables organization to assess its performance. Action step, here action step is that utilize performance indicators and benchmarks to compare performance with industry standards and identify areas for improvement. Strategy, constant review and adjustment. This is the fifth strategy. What are the purpose of this strategy? That is, regularly review and adjust budgetary control process to reflect changes in business environment. What are the action steps? That is, adjust budgetary control process based on the changes in business environment and feedback from stakeholders. Understanding the importance of the budgetary control. What are the importance? First importance, budgetary control is an essential aspect of managing our finances effectively. Second importance, that is one of the primary reasons why budgetary control is important, is that it allows us to track our income and expenses accurately. Thirdly, budgetary control also enables us to avoid overspending and accumulating debts. Fourthly, in addition, in personal finance, budgetary control is equally vital in the business world. Fifthly, it is worth nothing that budgetary control is not a one-time activity but an ongoing process. Sixthly, several case studies have highlighted the significance of the budgetary control in achieving financial success. And finally, in conclusions, budgetary control is a critical component of managing our finances, both personally and professionally. Key components of a budgetary control system: budget setting. Budget must be set up. The foundations of the budgetary control system lies in setting clear and achievable financial targets. This involves revenue budget. What is the revenue budget? Establishing revenue goals based on the sales forecast, market conditions, and growth objectives. The secondly, expense budget, defining budgeted expenses including both fixed and variable costs. Second aspect, that is budget implementations. What is the budget implementation? Once budgets are established, they need to be implemented throughout the organization. This includes budget allocations. What is the budget allocations? Allocating funds and resources to different departments and cost centers in line with the budget. Third aspect, monitoring and reporting. What is monitoring and reporting? Continuous monitoring of financial performance is a critical aspect of budgetary control. Actual versus budget comparisons. Regularly comparing actual financial results with the budget to identify variances. Then variance analysis, investigating the reasons behind variances and taking corrective actions as needed. Fourth aspect, that is the corrective actions. What is the corrective actions? When discrepancies between actual and budgeted figures occur, budgetary control allows for corrective actions. Cost control measures. What is the cost control measures? It is the implementing cost control measures to reduce expenses or reallocate resources. Revenue enhancement strategies. It contains exploring strategies to increase revenue, such as improving sales or pricing. Revised budget. Revised budget contains updating budgets to reflect changing circumstances and financial goals. Fifth aspect, that is communications and accountability. What is communications and accountability? Now it contains or it includes transparency. What is transparency? Ensuring transparency in financial reporting and budgeted processes. Accountability, holding individuals and departments accountable for meeting their budgeted targets. Feedback loops. What is the feedback loops? In respects of communications and accountability, feedback loops is the establishing feedback mechanisms for continuous improvement. Types of budgetary control. Budgetary control is an important part of managing finances in a business. It involves making plans, controlling expenses, and keeping track of money, and this helps the business achieve its financial goals by using money in the best way possible. And these are different classifications of the budgetary control, including incremental, activity-based, value propositions, and zero-based budgeting. The expenditure or expense budget. First of all, what is expenditure or expense budget? It focuses exclusively on controlling costs and expenses within the organization. It ensures that spending does not exceed budgeted amounts, helping to maintain profitability and financial health. It helps in operational budgets, administrative budgets, and departmental budgets. Second types of the budgetary control, that is revenue budget. What do you mean by the revenue budget? It projects the income or revenue expected from various sources over a specified period. It helps in setting sale targets, pricing strategies, and marketing efforts to achieve revenue goals. It helps in sale budgets, income projections, and fundraising budgets for non-profit. Third types of the budgetary control, that is profit budget. It combines both revenue and expense budgets to forecast net profit. It is focused on profitability. It helps management make decisions to optimize financial performance by balancing revenues and expenses. It is used in overall corporate budgets, business units budget. Another types, that is cash flow budgets. Another types of the budgetary control, that is the cash flow budget. It contains or it discusses or it prescribes or it tracks the expected inflows and outflows of cash over a particular period. It ensures that the organization maintains sufficient liquidity to meet its obligations and avoid cash shortfalls. It is used in short-term financial planning, managing working capital. Another types of the budgetary control, that is capital budget. It plans for investments in long-term assets and capital projects. It facilitates decision on capital expenditures such as purchasing equipment, expanding facilities or other significant investments. It is used in capital expenditure projects, strategic investment. 6 types of the budgetary control, that is master budget. What is master budget? A comprehensive budget that consolidates all individual budgets related to sale, production, finance and other departments. Provides an overall financial plan and ensures all departmental budgets are aligned with the organizational goals. Overall organizational budgeting, top level management reporting. 7 types of the budgetary control, that is operating budget. What is operating budget? It is an itemized forecast of revenues, expenses and profit for a specified period, usually the fiscal year. It serves as a detailed plan for daily operations, guiding both the revenues to be generated and the cost to be incurred, the annual business plans, quarterly reviews, etc. Another types of the budgetary control, which is called production budget. It focuses on the quantity of products to be produced to meet expected sales and inventory requirements. It ensures that production levels are aligned with sales forecast and inventory policies. The manufacturing sector inventory control. Another types of the budgetary control, which is called sales budget. What is sales budget? It estimates the expected sales volume and revenue for a future period. It helps in setting sales targets and evaluating the effectiveness of sales strategies and marketing campaigns. It is used in marketing planning, sales forecasting. Another types of the budgetary control, which is called flexible budget. It adjusts or flexes with changes in volume or activity levels. It provides a more accurate comparison of budgeted and actual cost, allowing for better performance analysis. It is used in variable cost and management, scenario analysis, etc. Another types of the budgetary control, which is called fixed budget. It remains unchanged regardless of variations in business activity levels. It is suitable for organizations with stable environments where activities don't fluctuate significantly. It is used in organizations with predictable operation conditions. And last types of the budgetary control, which is called zero-based budget. Each department to justify all expenses from scratch for each new period rather than just adjusting prior period budgets. It promotes cost efficiency by ensuring all expenses are necessary and justified. It is used in cost-cutting measures, financial restructuring. Now I will discuss the types of budgetary control in management accounting. In respects of the management accounting, what are the types of the budgetary control? First of all, in management accounting, different types of the budgetary control are utilized to provide detailed insights and maintain effective oversight of an organization's finances and operations. These types focus on both financial and operational aspects, helping managers make informed decisions. How are the primary types of the budgetary control in management accounting? First of all, operating budget. The detailed project revenue and expenses related to the day-to-day business operations over a specified period, typically a fiscal year. It includes sales, productions, and administrative budgets. It guides operation activities, ensuring that routine functions are performed within financial constraints. Second type, management accounting budgetary control, that is capital budget. It plans for long-term investment in fixed assets such as machinery, equipment, and real estate. The components are project investment budget, capital expenditure approval. It facilitates strategic planning for growth and improvement of the organization's physical and intangible assets. Third types of the budgetary control in management accounting, that is cash flow budget. What is cash flow budget? Now, it projects the inflow and outflow of the cash over a particular period to ensure liquidity and solvency. The components are cash receipts, payments, and net cash flow analysis. It ensures that the organization can meet its short-term financial obligations and manage cash surpluses and shortfalls effectively. Another types of the budgetary control in management accounting, that is sales budget. What is sales budget? It estimates figures, sales revenues based on projected sales volumes and selling prices. Components are sales forecast by product line, territory, or customer segments. The purpose of it sets sales target and forms the basis for the budget, such as production and marketing budget. Another types of the budgetary control in management accounting, that is production budget. The details of the quantity of the products that must be produced to meet the sales budget and inventory requirements. The components are production schedules, raw material requirements, and labor needs. The purpose is to ensure that production meets sales demands without overproducing or underproducing. Another types of the budgetary control in management accounting, that is flexible budget. It adjusts budgeted amounts based on actual activity levels or output, providing a dynamic tools for performance evaluations. The components are variable cost, fixed cost, and mixed cost. The purpose is to offer a more accurate reflections of cost and revenues by adapting to change in business volume or activity levels. Another types of the budgetary control in management accounting, which is called fixed budget. What is fixed budget? It remains unchanged regardless of changes in activity levels or business conditions. The components are fixed revenue and estimates. It is suitable for stable environments with predictable activity levels through the less adaptable to changes. Another types of the budgetary control in management accounting, that is zero-based budgeting. In respects of management accounting, zero-based budgeting requires all expenses to be justified for each new period starting from a zero base. Each unit or function must justify its entire budget request. It encourages cost efficiency and allocations of the resources based on current needs and priorities rather than historical spending patterns. Another types of the budgetary control in management accounting, that is activity-based budget, ABB. It focuses on budgeting based on the cost of activities necessary to produce goods or services. The identifications of cost drivers, activity levels, and resource consumption rates. It ensures resources are allocated efficiently according to the cost of activities that drives the organization's workflows. The types of the budgetary control in cost accounting. In cost accounting, budgetary control focuses on planning, monitoring, and controlling costs to enhance the efficiency and profitability of an organization. Here are the primary types of the budgetary control used specifically in cost accounting. First of all, standard costing. What is standard costing? It uses predetermined standards for cost and material, labor, and overheads. It serves as a benchmark against which actual cost and compared, allowing for variance analysis to identify inefficiencies. The components are standard material cost, standard labor rates, standard overheads. For flexible budget, it adjusts budgeted figures based on the actual levels of activity or volume of output. It provides a more accurate cost comparison by adapting to changes in production levels or business activities. The components are variable cost, which change with activity level, fixed cost, which remain constant. For variable budget, it is similar to a flexible budget. It emphasizes variable cost, which fluctuate with changes in the level of activity. It helps in managing and controlling costs that are directly tied to the production volumes. The components are direct material, direct labor, variable manufacturing overheads. For fixed budget, it remains unchanged regardless of increases or decreases in activity levels. It provides a static plan often used in stable environment where cost and activities are predictable. The components are cost outlines for a constant level or activity. Zero-based budgeting, in respect to the zero-based budgeting, it requires every department to justify all its expenses starting from zero for each budget period. It ensures that all expenditures are necessary and justified, drives cost efficiency. The component or budget prepared by evaluating and justifying all operations and associated costs from scratch. Activity-based budgeting, it focuses on budgeting based on activities that incur cost, linking them to consumptions of the organization's resources. It ensures that costs are allocated based on actual activities usage rather than broad average. The components are identifications of cost, diverse activity levels, and resource consumptions. For incremental budgeting, it is used for previous period's budget as a base with incremental adjustments for the new budget period. It simplifies the budgeting processes, which can be less detailed but potentially overlook significant cost drivers or opportunities for savings. The components are case-year budget plus minus incremental changes. Program budgeting, it allocates cost to specific programs or projects rather than departments or functions. It facilitates cost control and resource allocations for specific organizational initiatives. The components are costs associated with individual programs or projects. There are the types of the budgetary control in cost accounting, that is responsibility budgeting. What is responsibility budgeting? It assigns budgetary responsibility to specify manager or department, holding them accountable for cost control within their areas. It improves managerial accountability and cost control as a managers are directly responsible for the cost, rolling budget or continuous budget. It continuously updates the budgets by adding a new period such as month or a quarter as the current period ends. It provides a constantly updated financial plans that reflects recent performance and current cost condition. Another types of the budgetary control in cost accounting, that is a product cost budget. What is product cost budget? It focuses on the estimated cost required to manufacture specific products. It ensures that product costs are managed and controlled to maintain profitability. For functional budget, another types of the budgetary control in cost accounting, that is the functional budget. It divides the budget based on functional classifications such as production, sales, and administration. It enhances control by focusing on cost within each functional areas. Another types of the budgetary control in cost accounting, that is project budget. What is project budget? It focuses on estimating cost for specific projects, often used for temporary or long-term initiatives. It facilitates details, tracking, and control of project-related expenditure. What are the characteristics of budgetary control? First of all, determinations of the goal. What is determination of goal? Budgetary control helps in ascertaining the goals to be achieved over the accounting period and the policies that are to be implemented for the attainment of these objectives. Second characteristics, that is attainment of the goal. It ascertains the range of activities which are to be carried out for the achievement of objectives. Third types of the characteristics, that is laying out of a plan. It assists in formulating a plan or sketches out the operations concerning every stages of activities both physically and monetarily for the entire period. Another types of the characteristics, that is making comparisons. It establishes a system for comparing the actual performance with the budgeted ones by every individual, units or department and ascertain the causes for discrepancies. Another types, that is corrections or revisions. Budgetary control makes sure that the required corrective steps will be taken at the right time when these are deviations from the budgeted targets, and if that cannot be implemented, then the plan is revised considering all the factors. Another types of the characteristics, that is budgetary control aims at prescribing in exact terms what should be done, how it is to be done in future, and ensuring that actual performance is to be achieved tandem with the budgets. So these are the characteristics of the budgetary control: determinations of the goal, attainment of the goals, laying of plans, making comparisons, and correction or revision. There are some steps. First step, set financial objects. Second step, develop a budget. Third step, implement the budget. Fourth step, track performance. Fifth step, the taking corrective actions. And sixth, take corrective action. These are the 6 points in respect of the budgetary control. These are the steps that can be considered when we will prepare budget. Functions of the budgetary control. There are the several functions of the budgetary control, which contains setting up of budgets, policy making, comparing the actual and budgeted results, taking corrective steps and remedial measures if possible, or revising the budgets if required. Placing responsibility when there is a failure to attain the target. The budgetary control implies a system that involves an ongoing comparison of the actual performance with the budgets and taking remedial steps immediately to ensure adherence to the plan. These are the, I think, 5 points: establishing budget, policy making, comparing, correcting and revising, placing responsibility. So these are the main functions of the budgetary control. The role of the budgetary control in decision making. There are the 7 types of the role of budgetary control in decision making. First of all, investment decision. Secondly, cost control and cost benefit analysis. Thirdly, pricing decision. Fourthly, resource allocations. Fifthly, performance evaluations and reward. Sixthly, risk management. And seventhly, strategic planning. There are some advantages of budgetary control. First advantage, improved financial performance. Budgetary control can help organizations improve their financial performance by ensuring that they are using their resources efficiently and effectively. Second advantage is better decision making. Budgetary control provides organizations with a better understanding of their financial performance. Companies can use this information to make better decisions about where to allocate resources, how to grow the business, and how to manage risk. Third types of the advantages, that is increased accountability. Budgetary control helps to increase accountability within an organization by setting clear and achievable goals for individuals, departments, and the organizations, in addition to motivating employees to work harder and smarter, that can help identify and address performance problems early on. Another types of the advantages, which is called improved coordinations and communications. Budgetary control helps to improve coordinations and communications between different organizational departments and units. Everyone is working towards common goals and is aware of the budget and how their performance will impact the organization's financial performance. Another types of the advantages, that is called more efficient use of resources. Budgetary control enables organizations to identify areas to reduce or eliminate cost, thereby helping them use resources more efficiently. This can lead to savings that the organization can reinvest in other business areas or used to improve profitability. The role of the technology in enhance the budgetary control. First of all, automation. Secondly, real-time monitoring. Thirdly, enhanced collaboration. Fourthly, scenario planning. Fifthly, data-driven insights. There are some limitations. First of all, budgets are based on estimate of future income and expenditure. These estimates can be inaccurate, especially in a rapidly changing business environment, leading to unrealistic and unattainable budgets. Budgets are typically set for some time, such as a year or a quarter. This can make responding to unexpected events such as a recession or a natural disaster difficult. Developing and maintaining a budgetary control system can be time-consuming and expensive. This can be especially challenging for small business. Employees may not be motivated to support the budget if they feel it is unrealistic or unattainable. Therefore, it is important to communicate the budget to employees and explain how it is aligned with the organization's strategic goals. The departments may compete for resources and blame each other for budget overruns. It is important to create a culture to cooperations and collaborations between departments. Here are some tips for minimizing the limitations of budgetary control. Use realistic assumptions when developing budgets. Use realistic assumptions about future income and expenditure. Secondly, build flexibility to budgets to organizations can respond to unexpected events. And thirdly, communicate the budgets to employees. Communicate the budget to employees and explain how it is aligned with the organization's strategic goals. This will help to motivate employees to support the budget. Another point in respect of the tips to minimize limitations of budgetary control, that is create a culture of cooperations and collaboration. Create a culture of collaborations and cooperations between departments to minimize conflicts. Another point, that is review the budget regularly. Review the budget regularly and make adjustment as needed. Achieving long-term financial stability through effective budgetary control. These are some tools for achieving long-term financial stability through effective budgetary control. Control over spending, planning for the future, debt management, flexibility and adaptability, and building financial resilience. Implementing budgetary control for organizations. Invest in a comprehensive procure-to-pay P2P solutions, that is strategic, useful budgets, rely on accurate and complete data. Choosing a cloud-based comprehensive P2P software solutions like PLA Energy gives organizations to considerable advantages in both creating budgets and performing budgetary control by centralizing all spend data, integrating the existing software environment, and standardizing information exchange to eliminate sales, enhance communications, and improve the spend and efficiency with which information is assessed, shared, and analyzed. And second aspect, establish budgetary responsibility and designate a budgetary officer to lead a budget committee made up of experienced top management. Now, this committee is responsible for defining the overall approach to budgeting, the establishment of budgets, and performing variance analysis in order to compare budgeted figures with actual results. Another point, that is budget officer in particular is responsible for acting as a liaison between the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, and the departmental heads on matter related to budget and communicating budget information at all levels of the organization. Another aspect, the define and implement budgetary control parameters, and another component, that is define the budgeting periods. And fifth point, that is define budgetary limits. Sixth point, create strategic control guided budgets. Seventh, monitor and manage budgets. These are the main tips in respect of the improving budgetary control. Enhance data collection and analysis, foster collaboration communications, incorporate external market factors, validate assumptions and scenario, use rolling forecast, invest technology and tools, train and develop staff, regularly monitor and review, learn from past mistakes, seek external expertise. In conclusions, the regular monitoring and evaluation is very much essential. Communication, collaboration is required in all steps in the budgetary control. flexibility and adaptability is required in this context. Technology and automation can be used in budgetary control, and after that the training and development is very much important. In this respect, there are some questions here. Thank you.